You probably clicked on this video to learn basics of the Python in 6 minutes. So let's not waste any other second of time and start. First thing we should do is downloading Visual Studio and Python. Just click on link in description and download. When you have both downloaded, just left-click on them and hit install and wait for it to finish. Do the same thing with Python. Wait for it to finish. Now let's create first project. Open Visual Studio. Click on File, then New File. Select Python file. First, let's save this project. Click File again, and then Save File. Now you can call the file however you want, but it is important to add .py in the end. Hit Save. Now it is time to write your first line of code. This is the most basic command in Python. Let's try to run it and see what it does. Yep, you guessed it right. It just prints the text in brackets to the terminal below. Now you might be wondering, why is this text inside the quotation marks? Good question, I was just getting to that. In Python, there are 4 basic data types. They are string, integer, float, and Boolean. String is just a text, like this one. It is always inside quotation marks. You can use any kind of character on your keyboard, and until it is inside quotation marks, it is string. With string, you can't do any mathematical operations. For them, we have integer and float. Integer is every whole number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and float is every real number. Last is Boolean, and it can store only 2 types of value, true or false. These are all the 4 basic Python data types. You should make sure you understand what they are because it is really important for programming in Python. Now, when you know what the data types are, let's start programming. First important thing to know is that the Python code always runs from top to bottom. So if on the first line, I print hello, and on the second line, I print world, the output will look like this. Probably the most important part of Python are variables. They look like this. You can set them to any data type you want. If the variable is integer or float, you can do all the mathematical operations with them. You can print variables. And as you can see, it works as intended. Also remember that you can change data type of variable. For example, if you have integer, let's say 10, you can change it to be string like this. If you print it, it looks the same, but now you can print this number with other string in one line like this. You can also change if you have number imported as string to integer like this, and now you can do any mathematical operation with the variable. Then you can again change it back to string, so you can print it with another string again. Perfect, it works. I hope you understand how. If you don't, I recommend watching this part again because it is really important. Good thing about variables is that you can input them after running the code. It is done by using input method. Let's define variable, for example, x. Now we are going to use method input, and in brackets, you can write text that you want to be shown in terminal. For example, this. Let's also print the variable and check if it works. Perfect, it does. Now it is time to write code with some actual function. Let's try to write program where you input 2 numbers, and the output is their addition. Now pause the video and try to think, how would you do it? Yes, right. It should look like this. So first we input x and y. Then we define that they are both integers. Then we define variable z, which is equal to addition of x and y, and then we just print z. It is really simple. Let's test this. And of course it works. The next topic I want to talk about are if statements. They look like this. You can imagine them as a door which are open, and the code behind them can be run when the condition is true, and closed if the condition is false, so the code behind them can't be run. In practice, it looks like this. So you have variable, then you have a condition, and if it is true, code behind is run. In this case, output looks like this. If the condition is not true, nothing happens. Important thing to remember is that the code inside if statement is always offset from the edge by tab key. If you write text without the offset like this, it is not part of if statement, and it will be run whether the condition is true or false. I recommend you to try to play with this yourself. It will help you to understand that it is really nothing complicated. The last thing I would like to talk about in this tutorial are cycles. They are used if you want to repeat part of code multiple times. When you have cycle in code, code runing from top to bottom gets stuck on cycle. In Python, there are 2 types of cycle. while cycle and for cycle. They both work similarly. In for cycle, you set range. You want it to be run in. For example, 0 to 10. This means that code inside the loop is going to be run 10 times, and the I variable will be set to values of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. The while cycle runs until this condition is true, so if I have condition x is smaller than 10, and inside the loop, every time it runs, I add 1 to x. The x will be set to values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. This is how it looks in practice, so this is for cycle. Let's run it. And this is while cycle. You can also do something like this to be able to set how many times do you want the loop to be repeated. You can also do it with the for cycle. This is all from me. I hope this tutorial helped you. If yes, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if there was something you didn't like, let me know down in the comments so I can fix it the next time.